What's going on, everybody? I don't give a shit if you're gnarly or if you're not. This is Tony Garrix, better known as the Captain, and I'm here chatting, talking, shucking, and jiving. And you are watching Drinking at Moe's.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Drinking at Moe's. Big Mo here. Be sure on YouTube to subscribe to the channel, comment, and you know what? Button mash that damn like button like you're playing Mortal Kombat. And we're on Spotify, Apple, Anchor. Anyways, today I have with me the captain himself, Tony Garrix. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I can't complain. Short week at work this week. So, that's always a nice little thing there.
Yeah, definitely. I'm fumbling right here. We're drinking, so I'm trying to get this, but I have no fingernails. It's just there we go.
There we go. Yep.
All right.
No, but yeah, like I said, short week at work this week. Veterans Day. I'm gonna take advantage of some of those free meals like I normally do.
There's a wrestler out here where I'm at, the DBA, and he's a veteran himself. And every year there's like DBA's free meal race, and he'll start at like 6 a.m. Obviously he doesn't work. He also works for the government here back home, but he'll see and keep us updated on his social media of like where he's eaten throughout the day and what number he's at.
Oh man, yeah. No, my day normally, well, ever since meeting my now wife, one of her aunts works at this elementary school that they do a Veterans Day program that one of her uncles also goes to. So I normally start there. There's this grocery store that has this free buffet breakfast thing. I'll go eat there, and I'll go to the National Cemetery that's just on the other side of town. Then I'll go grab something for lunch, go home, lounge around with my dogs for a bit, go someplace for dinner.
What are your go-tos then for like the places you get like your comped meal? What would be like your top three that you want to hit up?
My top three, well, one that I really like going to, Texas Roadhouse. That they got a good one.
Okay.
I've been to Applebee's before. They usually have a pretty good selection, pretty good deals. And a third one. You know what? Olive Garden. I've gotten some good stuff there.
Nice.
But yeah, no, this year Veterans Day has even more of a meaning for me with my wife and I were expecting twin girls, and they were born premature and only made it about a week. And they I didn't realize this. My wife actually did the research on it. They're actually, since they're my kids and I'm a veteran, they get placed out at the National Cemetery. So now I'm gonna go visit, pay them a visit.
Also, I'm sorry to hear that, but I mean, at least there's like somewhat of a silver lining to the sad part of that, where that's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, even more of a silver lining whenever my time comes, I get to get placed right next to them. So that's even more. And well, now on to in a more bright note. I like to start off with each of my guests with what got you started as a fan, and then what got you started, finally wanting to make the leap into the business.
So my joking answer for that is I didn't have a father. My my actual answer is, my mom was a wrestling fan growing up, and she kind of fell off of it. Like obviously as she got older, like
Yeah.
I live in Michigan, so there might be some Michigan based explanations in this. So she went to WrestleMania 3. And she was growing up, she kind of fell out of wrestling. I was, born, and then I might have a bad memory here for the most part, but I remember when I was younger, I would stay at my grandma's a lot because it was like single mom,
Mm,
single, only child,
yeah.
and my mom would work late, so I'd have to go stay at my grandma's, so she'd get me to school, that type of thing. And I remember distinctly like closing the door, laying a blanket in front of the door so I could watch TV because I knew I needed to go to bed.
You
And I came
don't want the
across,
light leaking through the
right,
doorway.
especially because like my bedroom at my grandmother's house was like the end of the hallway. So if she had to go to the bathroom, her bedroom or the kitchen, you can see it.
Yeah.
And I had the TV on like two, enough to where you can like maybe hear it. And I was just scrolling the channels and I came across wrestling and I watched it and I liked it. And I kept watching it. And then I got caught. And then, she told my mother. And my mom's like, well, I was actually a fan of wrestling growing up. So my mom and I bonded together watching wrestling together as I got older. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and then that was, and then, like if you want to get like really like psychological about it, I guess like looking at some strong type of human and storytelling was like not having that in my personal life was something for me to relate to. Is on top of being like the class clown. I want the attention on me. Like, oh, I can
Yeah.
relate to this, and
No,
like
I can understand that. I know for me, I don't remember specifics, but I do remember it was my now late uncle that I can credit with getting me started. I was watching it at his house one time, and oh boy, I'm one to say it was Hogan or Warrior, and seeing the reactions that those guys got, and then getting to watch guys like the Road Warriors and stuff, and just the larger in life reactions that those guys got. I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever.
right. It's so funny for me too because like I'm younger than what's perceived. Like I'm in my late 20s, but like you and I could sit here and sing the Fraggle Rock theme song.
Yeah.
Like like the things like I know about HR Puff and stuff. I know about Zygmunt the Sea Monster. So it's like my mom raised me on what she was raised on. So
Uh,
like yes, we watched wrestling being televised, but it was also like, nah, let me like put this in the VHS real quick. Let's watch this.
yeah.
And that's where it's like if you're a fan of my work, when you watch my work, there's definitely new school aspects, but it's a lot of like old school storytelling.
Nice.
And
Nice.
like and that's how I like to do. I like to say that I am a like spot monkey from Memphis, but that like came up in Japan. Is a
Yeah.
fun way to look at it because it's like I have like the strong style aspect, the death aspect, but then there's also the like still even if I'm not a nice person, I'm a bad guy, but it's still like a humble loss
Yeah.
or something like it, and that's the respect for the competitor. So it's a lot of that weird like you wouldn't assume this like 28 29-year old would want to do like this and this. They want to hit like 37 super kicks and
Uh,
not tell a story. My things, I couldn't hit a single move, but I'll tell an amazing story.
nope. I get you there. And, you do, I kind of gravitate towards that type, the old school storytelling, but you mix in that intensity in
Yeah.
there. That's the type of stuff that draws me in. Like some of the guys out currently on like national TV scale
Mhm.
that really draw me in, like, oh God, guys that I was just before we got started talking that were on my TV, Samoa Joe, um, Eddie Kingston, guys like that, they have that intensity, but they can definitely tell a story.
Yeah. I mean, like even my thing is like wrestling's silly, man. Like if we're to like cut to it, wrestling's goofy, and I mean, at I'm assuming like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I came on your wavelength for Mid Death at their debut show.
Ah, yes.
And I mean, during that show, something went wrong, and I was just like, well, let's make the most fun out of it, I guess. And it's I forgot one of the gimmicks that were going to be used outside,
Oh
and
no.
and I'm like, well, I gotta go get it, and then I couldn't get it open because I don't have fingernails. It was the salt, and
Oh,
so I started yelling. I'm like, who has a fucking knife? Who has keys? Who has so open this damn thing? Because like I'm sitting there just like finger flipping the thing, and I'm just like, I can't get
oh,
it open.
oh,
Like, and like even though I'm a bad guy, like I had to laugh about it in the moment because it was just like. Oh, also, this is Tony Garrix featuring Oliver, me, Bumble, and first mate Bubba when they decide to make appearances. We got three cats and then my Chihuahua. So
oh,
they.
no. I get there. My well, I got
Oh,
my
hello.
my one of my dogs, Bentley, right there. We got a Foster Frenchie, and then we got a senior English Bulldog that she's kind of passed out on the other end of the couch.
I'm at any point in our conversation, if I kind of like stop talking for a second, it's I am just making sure Bubba is still good. I don't know if
Oh,
anyone listening saw on my socials or anything. Bubba did have to go to the emergency vet a couple
yeah.
days ago. So I'm just like he's doing better every day. Like he's doing leaps and bounds, but it's still that like, animal parent of just like, you good? You made a weird sound. You all right? All right, cool.
Oh, yeah. No,
Like,
I can fully understand. When couple weeks ago, my wife and I we actually lost our Great Dane. That he he had a stomach bug for a while, but then I guess it ended up getting worse than even we thought. And there was a little while afterwards where our foster and the one Bentley that I showed you,
mhm,
they were acting off.
right.
Like they weren't eating as much, and it was just like after losing the one and then those two feeling off is like anytime they even felt even slightly off of normal is like, oh shit.
Right.
So I totally understand you there.
It's especially with him being such a little guy, like he took a very, very big fall. And little dogs already, they have their weird little medical things.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I don't know. I feel like I keep leading us down a dark path. I think the other the other part of your question, I believe, was what got me into wrestling, like what made me
Yes.
want to do it. Like every jabron, I backyard wrestled with friends. Um, growing up, honestly, like I didn't have a lot of friends, like that's for shoot. I had kind of a very rough upbringing. Without going into detail, my mom was very medically disabled as I got older. And it's, single child, single parent. And I kind of became the like caregiver at about 11 or 12. And from then till about 16, 17, I did a lot around my house, whether it was like cook, clean, bathe, things of that nature for my mother. And it was like my friends were pro wrestling, video games, and my mom. Because that's all I had time for. That's what resulted me in not. I never finished high school. I went back when I was about 20 or 21 and got my GED. But like things of that nature is kind of what led me down that path. And I remember being on MySpace and just I kept watching backyard wrestling, and I found this group of these dudes who had this like so unsafe like mud show ass homemade rig. And they lived 7 miles from me. And I remember riding my like Schwinn mountain bike 7 miles to meet these fucking strangers who I'd never met, and like just putting on this bullshit with them. And then that led into something else. And that led into me finding out about independent wrestling. And then I think it was like 16 or 17. I went to this independent wrestling show and I'm like, I'm a wrestler. I'm like, I do it. I do it in this city with some people. And I learned I'm not. And from there, I got like easy bake oven trained by some dude in Ohio. And then thank whatever power that is, a couple of years later, Congo Kong picked me up.
Mm.
And so that's why I won't say that my trainer is Congo Kong, but definitely my daddy and my mentor is Congo Kong. He definitely molded me into where I'm at.
No, that's awesome. And that kind of leads me into one of my next questions is the origins of the captain, because like a lot of people, with a nickname like the captain,
Mhm.
there's some people that would bring in like a military aspect of it. And judging from our little talks, I'm not guessing that has really anything to do in your.
No, not at all. So actually, like a rewind. So I've been in the industry 10 years, and my first seven, I went by Fat Tony.
Ah,
Um, and my tag team partner, old school Rick, we were the Cartier brothers, and it was like a old school greaser esque thing, which is like the most wild thing for two German Polish sons of bitches to be doing like some Italian thing when we are whiter than bones. And in 2019, 2019, I want to say, when COVID show up, was that 19, 20?
like very beginning of 20.
Okay, so 19 is when a lot of my physical ailments showed up. I used to be just under 600 pounds, and I couldn't feel my left leg. I was having respiratory issues, heart issues, and at the time I was mid 20s. And I for years was content on like I'm gonna ride it out till 30, and I don't plan on seeing after 30. And it got to a point where I went and talked with a bariatric surgeon who'd done surgery with other of my family members, and I end of 19 into 20, I did like the farewell goodbye deal, and I didn't anticipate coming back to wrestling. I was like, I'm gonna get surgery. I don't know if I can do this after the fact. But I need to get better, or I'm going to die. It wasn't a fear of dying, and I still don't have a fear of dying. I have a fear of what my death's repercussions will like happen to other people.
I,
That
yeah.
so I got the surgery. I have had a couple complications. One sucked. I came back to wrestling like I think 11 or 12 months after the surgery and 200 pounds down. I lost 200 in about a year.
Dang.
And I came back and I needed to think of something. And I knew I liked Martin Garrix, and I knew I wanted to stick with Tony. Tony's after my grandfather Anton. And I'm like, I need to, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like I've done so many years as this one thing. What can I do? And I'm looking at what's on TV, what's on Twitter, what's everywhere, and I'm like, there hasn't been a captain since like Lou Albano. And like, no disrespect to anybody listening to this, but if you do a like Pirates of the Caribbean thing, fuck off. Like your gimmick is not
Yeah.
original. That's the same as like going into a state you're not from and being like, I'm from this state, fuck your state. It's easy, it's not creative.
Yeah.
Um,
The
and that
easy.
that's yeah, it's easy, and that's something I don't want. I want something that's going to challenge me and also be appreciated more. So I was like, what can I do? And I'm like, let me. I was like, I live. So I'm in Michigan, so I live around all the Great Lakes, and I'm like, all right, cool. What can I do? And I'm like, well, let's do something with water. And I already had like nautical tattoos, and I like nautical style tattoos, and I like deep sea fishing. So I came back as like captain, but in like the crab fisherman sense. And then it didn't translate well. So been back about 2 years, year and a half, 2 years. And like that's kind of just there's been an evolution of just like what can I do? And I like to almost do like the many faces of Foley, to
Mm,
where it's like we can go to Disneyland or we can get bloody and go to a death match. Like the captain can go anywhere we need to be. I can be
God.
bright and colorful like we're from Lisa Frank, or I can cut you the fuck up like I'm a saw trap. Like either which way, we can do what we need to do, fuck around and find out. The captain can do anything.
Oh yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
it. That's where the captain came from.
Yeah. No, and I've been seeing some of your stuff, and I know here coming up, you have a show at mid death,
Yeah.
and we'll go into, you know what, we'll go into that here in a second, because with the whole captain thing,
Mhm.
I was looking on your website, and some of the, I think it was the fan picture, but the old school wheel, turning the ship,
Yeah.
and it looked like you were holding it conveniently positioned over your junk.
Yeah, that I was. I mean, like I control the ship, but I can dock with you. Like I can make port.
Oh man, like I was looking around, doing homework for the episode, and I saw that. I'm like, oh my god, that is awesome.
It's a lot of fun, and it comes very naturally for me, and that's
That's,
what makes it fun because it's not forced. Um, and it like whatever realm we're doing it, whether I'm in what some might say is real wrestling gear compared to stuff I may have had altered or tailored, and I can have fun, and that's my thing. And I believe whoever's watching me can see that I'm having fun while also putting on a good show. And like to me, that's entertainment. Like if
yeah.
and then this kind of goes back to how I came up on wrestling with like older wrestlers. Like there's a reason like I have a hairy chest and I have a hairy stomach, and my beard might not be as groomed as it needs to be, because even though I'm 260 pounds, like I'm not aesthetically pleasing to the social standard of what's hot. And like neither was any fat fucking white heel 30 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, like so,
Definitely right.
but that's the thing is like in this industry you need to be moldable, and
Oh yeah.
and you can adapt so quick if you're comfortable with your
Oh,
character. And
well, that's right there. But yeah,
that
oh, you make a good point, because a lot of the people that have had longevity in the business have been adaptable. I mean, look at all the phases the Undertaker went through.
yep.
Look at, hell, Chris Jericho going through all the Lionheart to Y2J to the Painmaker to the, I hate calling him the Ocho, but that's what he's doing now. But those guys, they've had that constant evolution.
Yeah, you have professional wrestling will always evolve, and the thing is, professional wrestling is an art and it's a buffet, and there's something for everyone to taste. I'm lucky enough as a attention-seeking dude who likes theater to be able to say, well, I fit into those entrees. I'm not just one dish. And like you can take a risk with Garrix because I will bet you whatever my fucking pay window is that I will connect with fans more than people who fake their front.
Yep. No, those guys that have that authenticity definitely, or in my opinion, those that draw me in more, because, when you've watched much wrestling as you or I have, you can tell the ones that are being authentic and being real. And, their in-ring persona is that extension of themselves, as opposed to, oh, this person just got thrown into this.
Yeah. So it's almost like someone who's out there and shucking and jiving and hitting the razzle dazzle compared to someone who's saying the alphabet.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Wow. Just getting over some allergy shit. But we were talking a little bit ago about Mid-Death Pro, and, I was going to go over some of the promotions that, doing homework for the episode that you've been through. And I know here they got one more show for the month, for the year.
Mm-hmm.
And this episode will probably be coming out after it.
Okay.
But you are going to be facing off against a pretty good buddy of mine. Did a episode of my vlog where I covered different wrestling events that I go to,
right,
on a match that he just recently had, Bogot.
So I'm trying to figure out how to go into this. Bogot and I are both pieces of shit. It's the best way to say it. The character of Bogot and Tony Garrix are both in your face. We're both there. And that being said, him and I kind of got along, but we both have individual agendas.
Mm.
And I was informed that that's what's going to be, and I'm not concerned about it, because May he be what's it, the deathmatch daddy?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be your papa, boy. Like every dad has a grandpa. And
Yeah.
like Bogot might be older than me. I might be younger. He might have some more tricks, but I'm a nasty motherfucker. And then that's the thing. Like Bogot will use whatever he's got, but I mean, I might have a fork in my boot, might have a knife in my pocket. It's not like I got to give him a clean shave with that bald some bitch, but we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah. Hell, the last match that he had over here in Omaha was a no rope barbed wire, and he actually had me hide a grilling fork in my backpack that I had my podcast stuff in, and he got it from me during the entrance.
I have been telling anyone who is coming to mid death, and even though this might be out after the fact, I really hope people bring forks. And because everybody has their kind of their thing, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
death matches or not, everybody has their thing. And I'm definitely the fork and tack guy. And I really just hope people bring their forks. I may or may not. Back whenever this came out, I may or may not have built a table that's completely littered about 1,000 forks.
Ooh.
I mean, you don't know if it happened. If you want to see if it happened, go check Twitter at MidDeath Pro. Go check their YouTube. It's a good way to figure it out. Or you can check my socials, Tony Garrix or Captain Tony Garrix.
Definitely. And
But
I'm excited. I with the timing of the show, I'm going to be having in-laws in town.
bring your in-laws.
Well, they're already making the drive from Kansas City, so.
Well, let's see. You drive. You give them a neck pillow. It's a great time. They get to just hang out.
Although only one of them is really into wrestling, and my little nephew, I don't think, as much as I want to hopefully get him into wrestling, I don't know if I want to start him off at mid-death pro.
That's definitely a way to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really like mid death. I'm really happy they brought me aboard from day one, and it's been a lot of fun talking about some stuff that may or may not happen and what has happened. And although anyone who's listened to this from mid death that bought me a shot a few months ago, fuck you and your entire family. I had after don't get, I appreciate it dearly, but like I had to get like put into a car and driven to where I was staying that night. Y'all got the captain pretty rowdy, but
Oh boy.
At Boggs, it's a cheap bar, man. Like like I got to Boggs at like 5 p.m. the day of that show, and I was like, all right, can I get just like a whiskey Coke? And she's like, what kind? I'm like, oh well, like it's fine. My liver's screwed to begin with. Let's just go well. And she's like, oh, well, top shelf's only $3. And I said, excuse me? So like I was drinking like $4 or $5 double Jack and Cokes.
Nice.
And then some dude came up with like a handful of shots and he took one and gave me the handful. And like I'm sitting there like, well, mama didn't raise no bitch. I'm gonna drink these.
Yeah.
But mid death has been great. Mid death is doing some stuff that and planning on doing some stuff that has not been seen. Not and not in like, oh, this hasn't been seen in Iowa. Like it has not been seen. And there are enough creative powers behind the scenes on this show that are doing just some true monumental stuff, not just for performance art or professional wrestling, but in general to make the Des Moines, the Iowa, and the Midwest have a bigger standpoint on what that art can be, and not, hey, this art was brought in from another part of the country for you guys to see.
Oh yeah, and it is nice seeing that particular form of professional wrestling is getting more of a spotlight here in the Midwest, because up until, well, really recently, deathmatch wrestling has seemed more either East Coast or even some West Coast, and not
Right.
not a whole lot, with some exceptions like IWA Mid South. Although they
Ugh.
will not, I was about to go there
Okay, okay, okay.
because I know that there's been a falling out there, and I actually, right after Jake Chris posted that video of his, I actually interviewed him for the show, and I'm like, hey, you got a grievance, I got a show, let's air it.
Right. I will say this on the subject. I have worked for IWM Mid South once, and it was a number of years ago. It was so substantially long ago that it doesn't matter. Um, I'm very a big backer on. By the way, this is she's hiding in the background. That's the lady Garrix. We I had a good time when I was there, and I'm very honored to have been in the shoot poll of people to fill a spot for King of the Death.
Mm.
It meant a lot for me, especially only being in the deathmatch world for maybe 8 to 10 months at that time, and the fact that I had enough nominations to be put in that poll was awesome. I don't agree with the business things that had taken place. That is a very firm thing that I stood on social media.
Yeah.
Um, that's just something it's a shit thing in a shit world that we're in with this industry, and it can happen, and it does not mean it should. So like
Yeah.
I still stand by anyone who was done wrong. I'm on their side.
No, I'm with you there, because there's already so much craziness out there. When you're just trying to go out there and entertain people, you don't need to be going through any of that bullshit.
Right. It's and it like what sucks, man, is like I'm no different than dog shit on the bottom of a sketcher. And like I'll never act like I'm anyone. I'm not. I'm just a dude out here trying to make the teenager, even tween me happy.
Mm.
And I've had my fair share of places where I've driven to get there. I've performed and then my money's not there. And who I am now compared to who I am was, there are variances. When I was a couple of years ago, I was really bad on pills. I've been clean off pills for about 5 years now. Um, but that guy would have taken you outside and beat the brakes off you.
Yeah.
I will now still do that if needed,
Yeah.
but I'll steal shit. At this point, I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna take something, or I'll argue with you. But for the most part, thank the powers that be, I haven't had to deal with anything like that in a good amount of time. But unfortunately, I know that it does exist out there.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate. One other promotion that was actually on your list of promotions you've worked with on your website, it didn't really say how many times.
Well, see, that website's so outdated. I apologize. I really need to update that website.
It's all good, but it jumped out to me because you always hear stories of, and this is probably going to give away the name of the promotion, but The Gathering. You always hear stories about The Gathering. And, I wanted to hear some JCW stories.
So,
if you have any, because I don't know how many I wasn't listening.
So I have not worked for JCW per se more than once. I did JCW at Headliners in Toledo, Ohio. And this was a number of years ago. I was one of the guys who were the indies versus the JCW originals. And I can't, and I apologize, I can't remember everybody who was involved in that match. There was a substantial amount of people, but in other words, like me, I believe Aaron Williams was there. There's a couple other dudes that like I got a call and was like, hey, can you be here by this time? And I'm like, yeah, I'm open. Let's get it. So I brought a couple other Michigan guys with me. And then it was like Necro, Pondo, Too Tough Tony. I think the Ring Riders maybe. But it was fun. It was a good like elimination match. I think I was only out there for maybe 5 or 6 minutes, but I have, on the other hand, worked for the Insane Clown Posse a couple of times now.
Not let's
Um,
go with that.
so there
If
there
you have any
was
stories with that.
the most recent was actually on their Twitch stream a couple months ago. They did the Juggalo Night Court, and I think I was Dirty Dan was my name. I was the sexy cowboy stripper.
Oh God.
And for those who've seen me in person, I got a lot of skin, and I've been cut up a lot, so I'm not that pretty on the eyes. But I came out in like my Daisy Dukes, my knee-high boots, tied up like a bra flannel, um, a cowboy hat. It was a great time, and the bit was essentially like I was a punishment. Um, but they said like I never met the contestants until like the cameras were rolling and we were live, and it was right before I go out. The talent main guy for talent there was like, I need you to fuck her up with this chocolate sauce and whipped cream. And I'm like, okay, sure. And it's like 5 bottles of Hershey syrup. And like, I'm like, oh God, okay. So like I go out and it's just this like it's one of ICP's songs, and it's like maybe a minute. And I do like the Elle Woods from Legally Blonde, like bend and snap with my ass in her face. I blow the flannel open so the buttons fly everywhere. And if you go back and watch it, my favorite part, and a very good friend of mine, the monster Congo Kong, he's the bailiff on this show. And so he's standing behind, the guilty party as they're getting their punishment. And when I bend and snap, there's a lot hanging out. And unfortunately, he's right there to watch it.
Oh God.
And if you watch the recording back, the whole time he's just arms crossed and mean mugging. And when I bend, he just makes the most like, what face? And it is great. But I know a lot of people who've worked for them. My tag partner did the like in your house show they did within the last year or two, where I think it was during COVID, where they fought inside of Violent J's house. My tag partner is the guy who pulled a gun out of Violent J's nightstand on Mosh Pit Mike. It
Oh
was
my.
yeah, they're a very fun group of guys to work for, and like beyond all the hate and flack that they get, they've been one of the most professional companies I've ever had the honor of working with.
And I hear that you know, like you said, they get a lot of flack, but I have heard that they actually do a lot of charity work.
I wouldn't know. Honestly, I wouldn't know if they do. I know that they are very good to their talent, as well as like for that live show, they were great to their contestants. They did I believe they all either got monetary compensation or they were taken care of with like the meet and greet and photos and being on their web show and stuff. So it I just know they were very nice. Like when I worked for them, I got taken care of, and there was like a green room with food and coffee and like a very good time. And it was something that I'd be happy to be back on.
No, that's always good when you have, we talked a little bit about some of the bad side of things, and you have people that are professional and take care of their people, and show you the good side of it.
It's so here and there in wrestling, and like Mid Death does it. Mid Death takes care of us really well. A place that I've not have the honor of working for, but I do something that a lot of people should do more of, and it's just showing up to help
Hmm.
at places. Like I love professional wrestling. I will share shows and share people's stuff that I'm not on them. I don't know them. And I've been lucky enough to do a couple shows now in the Midwest for Circle Six. Whether it's just setting up and then helping out and whatever you need, and they take really, from what I've seen, and like I said, I have not wrestled for them, but they take really good care of their talent in back, whether it comes to catering or anything like that. And I know a lot of their talent personally, and a lot of their talent have just been almost blown away with like, wow, like even the smallest thing of like their deathmatch guys have a first aid table. Because you'll go to a lot of shows and you're booked in like a Taipei or a House of Glass or like something to where like, oh, I'm gonna get busted up in this. Like I know I'm going to. And then you get back and you get back to your seat, and then like I'll pull out my first aid kit and start cleaning myself up. Compared to like, oh, you guys took care of all this for us. Thank you. And then little stuff like that really means something to your talent. And seeing more promotions doing that, it's awesome to see the evolution that wrestling's going into.
Oh yeah, especially in things like deathmatch wrestling. Knowing that a promotion is going to take care of you in that aspect, because I mean, people always, the whole stigma with professional wrestling, people, and people watching the YouTube version of this, the air quotes fake, but you get into deathmatch even more so, and it's like, okay, you jump in there and you try taking hits from friggin' light tubes, thumbtacks, and that sort of stuff, and telling me that that's fake, and getting cut up, and you're gonna need a first aid kit when you get to the back.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing, especially when you're out there as a performer. And I want you to be engaged. I will do my best to make you engaged. And I hate when you get that one person who has a few too many Trulies and they're like demeaning your work, which it's like, yeah, please give me heat. Like I love that. But I don't want to say anything that I shouldn't, but I was lucky enough to be a helper at Wrestling Revolver in Des Moines the last time they were there. And
Oh, you might have ran into me there because I was at that one.
I was one of the guys that got punched by the dude during the scuffle between Sammy. I also helped set up I was in the pizza shorts, the infamous pizza
Oh,
shorts. That was me.
oh,
Um,
I vaguely remember not really having a conversation with you, but I vaguely remember running into you once or twice there.
I was there for 2 days. It was a really great time. I will be back as a helper at their next show in Des Moines. Um, but when it comes to people who are being demeaning, two entertainers had a match with weapons at that show, and one of them did get a relatively nasty cut towards the end. And someone in the crowd heard us trying to talk to the ref. There was myself and TJ Meyer sitting like literally kneeling in the corner just in case anything was needed. We kind of have an understanding of how that world works, so we're just extra hands. And we had asked like, hey, do you need a towel? Just very quietly. And someone's like, oh yeah, get him a towel, he's a pussy, he can't handle a cut. And it's like, whoever said that, I hope you know there was like a 4-inch hole in this person's back.
And
Like
this was at the Revolver. Hmm.
it
I
was
vaguely remember hearing
it was
somebody.
it was handled by someone who is very tough and has been very nice to me every time I've had the pleasure of running into them. But it's like as an entertainer, stuff goes wrong sometimes. And
Oh
yes, you want to see us get hurt, but sometimes someone gets hurt,
yeah.
and you don't know the gravity of the situation at the time. So like hearing that, I'm happy you were engaged, but it's also like, dude, sometimes stuff goes south.
Oh
I did the 5-year anniversary for the Horror Slam wrestling up here in Michigan, and there were some cancellations, some happened, and my match turned into a death match. It was supposed to be kind of light, and it turned into like, all right, let's go pretty hard on this. And I was fine, all things considered, until the end. Something happened. I had a broken nose,
mm.
and some people were just like, "Oh, he's crying," and it's just like, "Ah, dude, like my nose is on the side of my face right now. Like, I don't need you yelling at me. I just want to go
oh
set this."
oh yeah. No, there's all sorts. Even not that long ago, I'm wanting to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm wanting to say it was Hoodfoot who is actually going to be at the next Mid Death show, but there was a match I'm wanting to say for GCW where it ended up getting stopped because of a big old gash that he gotten in his arm.
Yeah,
And
that was GCW Detroit.
yes, because I remember I was watching that show, and I'm like really getting into the match, and all of a sudden, wait, it's over. And then start showing like what happened to his arm. And I'm like, oh damn.
Yeah, that was so that trying to think of the right way to word this. Hoodfoot's a friend of mine. Um Hoodfoot's a very good friend of mine, and Hoodfoot's someone who has definitely looked out for me since I met him about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I was actually the person who went and got Hoodfoot from the hospital after that had happened. Hoodfoot was severely messed up from that, and it was
Oh,
just it was something that went wrong. And Brett with Game Changer stopped. This is all to my knowledge. I don't work for Game Changer. I don't know Brett personally. I've met Brett once, and that was in Atlantic City, and I went out with Hoodfoot for that one. But Brett stopped it. Hoodfoot was pretty hurt. Hoodfoot wanted to keep going, as Hoodfoot does.
yeah.
Um, but Hoodfoot was very happy he got taken care of when he needed to. And without going into detail about it, the night I picked him up, we went to ICW and RPW present Deathmatch Circus in Michigan. And that was also the night where there was an incident where police got involved because a fan member
Oh yeah.
was hurt outside. It was a wild weekend, man.
Oh yeah. No, I remember hearing about that one.
It
That
was
was
a very,
whoa.
but yeah, at mid death, it's Hoodfoot versus Carver. And
Yeah.
all I'm gonna say is like those two dudes are wild, and I'm excited with my love of professional wrestling to like
Yeah.
get cleaned up by medical after I beat the shit out of Bogot,
Oh,
and then just go have a cheapo whiskey and coke and watch what those two savages are gonna do to each other.
oh man. I have I have been in the crowd for many a Carver match because he frequents a promotion out here in Omaha, and he was actually supposed to be Bogot's opponent for that no rope barbed wire match, but he got
Right.
the thing with the light tube that happened at mid death that happened to be the day before that. But
Hey, you could hurt a monster, but it's hard to kill him.
oh yeah, and Carver is definitely one of those hard to kill guys. Just get grief. I like I said, I've witnessed a whole bunch of his matches, and you're always in for some insanity.
Yeah, it was what's funny about Carver, and I'd never met him, and then I met him about a year ago, and I'm just like, this fucking thing is weird. And he came out of nowhere, maybe the trees or some shit, and then I saw him at it was like the pit for ICW Deathmatch Circus 2 years ago, and just every time I see him, I'm just like, that thing's fucking creepy. I don't want to deal with it. If I ever have to razzle dazzle with the Carver, I'm gonna bring like a sword. He's got that axe. I'll bring a spear. That's very nautical. I'll harpoon him.
Hey, the harpoon goes well with that captain.
Yeah.
It'd work. But one thing I like to talk about with each guest is a little bit of stuff outside of wrestling. Like we talked about your dog there that had that little scare, and well,
Yeah.
here's my that little senior English that he's once she knew that I was about to point the camera towards her, wanted to start looking away. But you know, we'll post a link in the description of the both the podcast and YouTube because I believe there was a link you posted about helping out buying things to help with the medical expenses for your little pup. My wife and we actually help out with a bulldog rescue here in Omaha that they adopt all throughout. But I figure being a fellow dog lover that you would appreciate some of that stuff.
Yeah, if I had the space, and let alone if I was home enough, that's something I'd be very interested in doing. But between my shoot job and being on the road, usually Thursday night from when I clock out till Monday morning when I clock back in, it's just something that's not in the books for me as a responsible animal lover.
No,
So I definitely commend that. That's really nice of you to do.
oh yeah, we've done it for a while. We've been lucky that our resident dogs we've not really had any complications with. Oh, this foster doesn't get along, so we got to like crate and rotate. You know, all of our fosters that we've had is to get along great with our ones that we have. And recently my wife convinced me to be a part of this uh, fundraiser for the rescue. It's become kind of a viral calendar for them that I gave them shit for it last year. It's called Dad Bods and Rescue Dogs,
Okay.
and they have the calendar every year. And last year there was a couple of guys that I'm like, I remember telling my wife and some of the other people that work with the rescue, I'm like, I thought this was supposed to be a dad bod thing. And like some of the guys on there was like, that ain't no damn dad bod. So then my wife was like, this year, why don't you be a part of it? I'm like, fuck it. Let's go.
Do it. Let it all hang out. Dad bod the fuck out of it.
So I don't know when the hell it's coming out. I'm imagining here in the next here before the year starts, but I'm in there somewhere. I have no idea what damn month I'm in, but
Yeah, he's crawling around behind me. He's doing substantially better than he was. For those who don't know, I'm a shoot 6'5". Every day when I get home, he stands on the back of the couch. I pick him up on my chest. It's been a routine thing for 4 years. For whatever reason, Thursday night, he decided to jump and turn around in midair
oh
from
no.
my standing height, and he went straight to our hardwood floor. I wasn't sure what happened, but he couldn't walk. He went to the bathroom all over himself and me. He made some very ungodly sounds, and we rushed him to a vet. I was worried it was going to be a spinal issue or a neck issue because he couldn't walk. He regained function of walking relative maybe 20 minutes later, and it turned out to just be a very big concussion. But for those who don't know, if you ever need to take your pet to an emergency all-night veterinarian, they are not cheap.
Yeah.
They are not cheap, but he's on meds and he's doing better every day, and that's all I can be happy about. I don't care how much it costs. I'm so thankful those who have donated. We're about halfway to where he needs to be with to cover the funds. Those who have already donated, donate in the future, or those who donate at any show I'm on will receive a custom 8x10 of myself and him with my signature and his paw print. Um,
That's
it could be $1, it could be $20. You're going to get that 8x10. And if you want anything else off my merch table, please feel free. We can make out an agreement or you can purchase it. But essentially, at this point, all proceeds go to like feeding my big ass on the way back home and his medical bills.
that,
Like,
that's good. That's good. And hopefully that all goes well getting that taken care of. I know you mentioned his signature, being the paw print on there. And we talked a little bit about tattoos. My wife and I, we 3 dogs that we have had that had passed away. I actually have their paw prints on my left calf.
very nice. I wish I had a meaningful tattoo. The only meaningful tattoo I have planned is for my head, and it kind of goes into the captain thing. Is
Mm,
I did a mental health podcast a little while ago, which was with someone else. I won't plug them on yours, but if you troll my socials far enough, you'll find them. And it was about mental health. And so the one tattoo that I want, that I have over 30 tattoos, none of them mean a fucking thing. Um, like, but the tattoo I'm getting on my head, so I'm a suicide survivor, and I want to get a Helm's wheel tattooed from right here all the way around the side of my head.
I
And I don't want it to be normal. I want it to be weathered. I want it to show that it's been through some shit. Because at the end of the day, you are the captain of your own life, and you can change shit. And you could set course to find help to change what you're struggling to find. and I want it weathered to show it's been a hard ride, but you can get through it. And
No,
that's
and yeah,
that's
no, I
that's
was
the only
gonna.
tattoo I'm looking at right now that means anything. The rest is like I have the damn Megatron, the Decepticon logo on my thighs. Like I have Super Mario and I have like Pusheen, the sticker cat. Like it means nothing.
You, and hey, that some people that's one of their things with tattoos. I know mine, the ones that I have, they all have some sort of a story. The dog paw prints. I was stationed in San Diego, and I have the San Diego Padres SD logo with an anchor hanging from it for the Navy on my right calf. I have dog tags tattooed with um, names of some people that mean a lot to me that were in the military that have passed on my right shoulder. I have let me see this, which is for my girls. I have their names, the date they were born, and a hand and a footprint of each of them. And the only one that isn't really have that much of a story behind it, I have this on my left shoulder, these, it looks like these claws that are tearing through, and behind it is an American flag. It looks like in the background the American flag waving, and the mascot of my ship in the Navy was a tiger. So I figured tiger claws ripping through, and you got the American flag back there. So each of mine has somewhat of a story,
Right.
but excuse me, I always knew before I even had one, when I was just an admirer of tattoos, that, you know, whenever I got one, me personally, and just the way I am, I always wanted each of mine to have a story.
That's my thing is like the life is so surreal, right? Life is very short. And I definitely have people who want tattoos or have tattoos and they well, mine have meaning and I'm like that's good. That's I'm happy yours have meaning. Mine was that's neat. Like let's throw it on me. Because at the end of the day, I have a brain that is the texture of jello and my body's gonna be maggot food at some point. So
Yeah,
I'm
no,
gonna, I'm gonna have some. That's my look at it. Like I hate the people who are just like, well, how could you put something that you don't care about on your body? Easy. It's $150 to some dude named Dave, and then it's on my body after an hour. Like,
yeah, and I mean, you know, some of them might not have a story, but it's not like, you know, you just said, you know, eeny, meeny, miny, that one. It's like,
I
oh, that looks cool. Let's get that.
so that is actually what I've said. Um, Not verbatim, but this one right here is a mystery tattoo. It was literally put coins in a gumball machine, and whatever came out, I got.
You know,
Like
I,
this
I
was like a Friday the 13th deal. This one, these two, this is a cover up. This one is something I picked off his wall. But like, I'm so big on, I wonder if that radiates into being interested in deathmatch or not. But I'm so big on just like living life by fuck it. And
you know,
like,
you know, that is one, it is in a way a great way to live life, because you only have this one go around. You know, you get a chance to do something crazy. What? Fuck it.
right. Like I'm so full of fucking tattoos and so low on like meaningful ones. I think a meaningful one that I really want to get and my girlfriend always says like that'd be funny is during COVID, my grandmother goes down south for the winter and she always sends me a Christmas letter with a Christmas gift inside of it. And during COVID, she sent me a letter that just said Merry Christmas, love Oma. Because I'm German as shit. For those who don't know, Oma is grandma. And it said P.S. in all caps, sorry, lowercase, wash, in all caps, your hands. And to me, that's hysterical because it's like, who the fuck else's hands am I washing? But that's something where it's like I still have that card to this day, and I'm like, I want this tattooed on me because like even though it's funny and it's borderline meaningless, it's like it's still her handwriting. It's still something that I was like, this is hysterical that she's putting emphasis on mine. Like all I
Yeah.
can imagine is like me walking up to some stranger in a public bathroom, like, I don't worry, bro, I got you. And like to me, it's just funny. And like and life is too short to be taken so seriously, and people need to just have more fun on the ride they're on. Is
Exactly.
like this.
Oh man, exactly. That's one thing. Even with this show, I've always said I wanted to keep it lighthearted and shooting the shit because when people go to listen and watch, there's always so much craziness out there that if they can get away from it for a little bit watching my damn shit, then hey,
Right. I mean,
that's what I'm there for.
I'll say, for instance, anybody listening to this right now, we've been on for over an hour and we've had 3 topics. That's but that's shooting the shit. It's having fun. Where at the end of the day, we're both two people talking. And
Definitely.
that can be so, and I'm very big on like the thinking about things not too literally. That can be something you can do with anybody, even in the soda aisle of a grocery store. Is like
Yeah.
life's too short to be so worried about shit. Just talk.
Oh God, yeah. Nope, I am totally with you there. But to round off the show, I got two categories.
Okay.
One's the name game where I just name off some people and something we've talked about a little bit so far. And one was kind of just a random death match guy that, well, I've actually been able to talk to him for the show, but I figured, fuck it, I'm gonna put him in here. First one, Hoodfoot.
Am I saying if I like them or no? You said what we were listing, but not
But just your thoughts on them.
my thoughts on them. All right, so Hoodfoot, great dude for the working man. Fast cars. If any of y'all know Hoodfoot, you know what I'm talking about. Hoodfoot's the homie, and I'll ride or die for that some bitch, and it's ride. So
That's awesome. Next one, talked a little bit about him with mid death, going up against Hoodfoot, Carver.
Scary person. His handler is very nice. The Carver, I believe, is slept on, but the Carver is someone that if he's on a show, you'll want to pay to see it. The Carver is a great experience.
Oh yeah, nope. I can definitely agree with you there. You are definitely in for a treat.
You're in for something that's not seen that often in professional wrestling, and that's what makes the Carver amazing as to what it is. Terrifying, but a great show.
Oh yeah, no, especially when you know the promotion that he shows up to here in Omaha. When you're as close as I am, and I'm like my usual spot, front row, right by the entrance. I'm like, I remember the first time I saw him coming up, I'm like, that dude's freaky as shit.
Yeah, man. All I have to say, by the way, very, very loosely, is I might be in Omaha at a promotion up the street from you next year.
Ooh,
It's something I want to work on. It's something that has not been discussed, but with the dates for mid death and their dates, it's something that could be worked out for my time in Iowa.
nice. That would be pretty cool. Hopefully, all that works out. Next one on the list, guy that's pretty synonymous with the death match wrestling, guy that I have was one of my personal like ones that like top of my bucket list until I actually got him on the show. Alex Colon.
Alex Colon is awesome because Alex Colon has done for deathmatch something so great. And it's showing the art inside of it and what Alex Colon's willing to do to entertain you. And everybody has their limit because at the end of the day, we are just people. but Alex Cologne will literally die so that your $20 was worth it.
Oh yeah, no, and that's one of the things that I've always admired about him. And it was shortly after I recorded with him, he mentioned that he actually it might have been even in the recording. This is my one little quirk I have with my show. I have yet to actually watch a full episode back.
Okay.
But I'm just like, I have so much fun doing them, but I hate hearing myself talk.
I understand that. Like I deeply like I'll watch shows where I cut a promo and I'm just like, shut that thing up. Who gave it a microphone? Why is it talking? But I've only met Alex once. I met him at Tournament of Survival for Game Changer in Atlantic City. I believe that night he took on Murdoch.
Mm.
I met him then, and he was a joy to be around for just a little bit of time I was around him.
Oh yeah, and when the thing that I was leading into, he mentioned that he was trying to invest in some new kick pads, so he was trying to sell off his old ones. So I was like, "How much are you wanting?" And he said, "Make me an offer." So I made him an offer, and now I have that's going to be featured up in my man cave when I finally get that set up. Some signed ring worn kick pads from Alex Cologne.
Very nice. It's a good piece to have.
Oh yeah, no, I've been lucky with some of the autograph wrestling items that I've been able to get. I always prefer either getting them sent to me from the person or I'm actually there getting them signed. Because
Right.
I got signed wrestling figures from Keith Lee and Swerve. I have signed Jeff Cobb figure I got when my show got invited to Warrior Wrestling in St. Louis. I got the event poster signed by all but like couldn't have been more than 5 people on the card.
Right.
But some of the stuff that I've gotten that I'm definitely gonna be putting up. I'm a bit of an autograph hunter. I'll admit to that.
That's everybody has their thing, and like I'm a toy guy. But not just any toys. I want original toys. I want old toys. On the wall that's that way, I have like the original Mattel lunchboxes from Jurassic Park did their press release throughout the 90s.
Nice.
I have like stuff like that. So I definitely get having like your niche of collection and the thing you like.
Oh yeah. No, I have some wrestling figures. I have a decent little collection of Funkos. I actually have a signed Green Ranger one. He was actually here in Omaha. Oh God, it was probably a couple months ago now, and I was just like, a friend of mine invited me, so I'm like, well, I'm gonna get something now and take it with me because I know that they're gonna be marking up the damn prices for crazy.
Right.
There, so I'm gonna get something now. But yeah, that's my little thing. Next, and going back to Alex Cologne, he actually has quite the big wrestling collection himself.
I feel like a lot of us wrestlers are like for me, I'm not I'm one of the weird ones. Even being in the industry, I don't really care for wrestling. I love what wrestling means and what it does. But when it comes to like the collection standpoint of it, like I have some stuff that's like really cool to me. Like I WrestleMania 23 program. I'm sorry, WrestleMania 3 program, not 20. I have both. But like I have like Hulkamania shirt that my mom caught at like Cobo Hall. Like stuff like that's really cool to me. I really like older stuff when it comes to like a mass produced thing. I'm just like, I don't want it. But like when it comes to like I have a script from Jurassic Park signed by everybody. Like that shit's me.
Nice.
Like that's what's weird is like these little facets that were like blockbusters, huge things. But when you can find these like little things,
Yeah.
it's kind of in the same sense. Like I love going to like local small band music like concerts or
Oh yeah.
stuff like that.
No, I totally get you there. Well, going back into the name game, last but not least, talked a little bit about him earlier, Bogot.
Bogat. So I the first time experiencing Bogat was at the first Mid Death show, and the experiences, oh my gosh, experiences in which I had with Bogat were great. Um, Bogat's people were the people who took care of me and back when I was pretty cut up. My match with Lars Metzger.
Yeah,
Metzger. My match with Lars at
buddy
mid
of mine.
death. I got a pretty like nice tear in my head that's there forever, so that needed to be attended to. But Bogat's people and Bogat were great to be with, and I'm very excited to show Bogat why I am going to make him call me Papa or Poppy or whatever you want to call it. And he might be the daddy out there, but I'm King Dick out here, and I'm gonna show him why.
All right. Next category I used to call it a speed round, but it never went that damn quick, so I just changed it to a random question round.
Okay.
Some might be wrestling related, some might not be. You just answer how you see fit.
Okay.
First one, craziest in match moment.
My last match. When I thought I was done, I knew the people that were going to come out. I was going to try to keep my composure. Me and the guy I worked with are shoot best friends. I did not give him the match I wanted to, but we still broke kayfabe, hugged, gave each other a kiss on the cheek at the end, and I left those boots in those ring, and I've never worn them again.
Nice. I've heard some crazy stories in the times that I've asked this question, ranging from a guy almost getting his nose ripped off to a guy getting a gash on the side of his head, to where if it went just a little bit the other way, he would have, well, one way it would have taken out his eye, the other way it would have ripped off his ear.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I've definitely heard some crazy ones. Next question. Favorite memory with your doggo?
Oh God, there's a lot. Probably the first time he had an ice cream cone. I took him to this little mom and pop shop that was by my apartment at the time, and I got an ice cream. It was just like me and him too, just sitting on some park bench, and he got it was a tiny little cone with like a tiny little bit of ice cream, and watching him try to figure out what it was, and then understand what freezing cold food was, and then how good it tasted was fun to watch.
I can only imagine. I know one of the dogs that I had at my parents' house when I enlisted. I swear I'll carry this memory with me forever. They had, when I left, they had this area in my parents' basement that was, their area. It was unfinished. They had some dog beds down there and everything. I went down to let them up when I got home one time, and they both ran up the stairs. The little one started running around in circles, and the big one, who was an Irish setter, he just parks himself at the top. And when I get like 2 steps from the top, he jumps up and like, "You're here." Oh man. About tackled me back down the damn stairs. Wow. Excuse me, but yeah, no.
You need this? I got you. Here you go.
No, yeah. No, man, I'm like, damn. That's the thing with my damn allergies. When I get when they start bothering me, after they start clearing up, I end up getting this damn crazy cough for a while afterwards.
Yeah.
Next question. Favorite drink, alcoholic and non?
Alcoholic, any type of whiskey, any type of cola. I prefer Diet Pepsi and Jack Honey, but I'll take whatever. If it's a seltzer, I'm gonna go Truly. Although I have been a fan of these Mike's Hard Freezes.
Huh.
These are pretty good. They're like slushy flavors, but as a normal liquid. Non-alcoholic Diet Pepsi. If we're gonna go soda, if we're gonna go juice, it would be Ocean Spray Zero Sugar.
I'm a bit of a Dr. Pepper fiend myself. But I know, and I actually stumbled on this combination. You brought up Jack Honey. I had I had a couple leftover shooters of Jack Honey laying around, and I was grabbing a can of Dr. Pepper. I'm like, I'm gonna try this. Combine them. Dr. Pepper and Jack Honey is actually pretty damn tasty.
A very wild drink, which I've only had because a bartender messed up my order, was I asked for a whiskey cola and a shot of Screwball peanut butter. Just
Huh.
peanut butter whiskey. They brought me a cola and Screwball. So cola, peanut butter whiskey, and it tastes like an iced mocha. It's weird.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know how it happens, but it's like an iced coffee. It's pretty good.
That actually sounds like it might be pretty damn tasty.
I feel like it's on that border though of like you could have one or two, but you're not drinking it all night.
Yeah. No, I've had some margaritas mixed with some rather smooth tequila, and let me tell you, I only had maybe two of them, and I'm like, oh god, yeah, no, any more than this, and I'm gonna be on the damn floor.
Yeah, or like for me, like I lost all my weight by having bariatric surgery, so I got to watch my sugars.
Mm,
So if it's too sweet of a drink, I'm like I can have this one, but if I have a few of them, I'll feel like shit. So it's like that. It's too sweet. I don't want it. Just give me the liquor that makes me think about why I ordered it, and I'll be happy.
no, that makes perfect sense. Next and last actual question for this category: best advice for anybody getting into wrestling.
Shut up. Listen. Oh, if you have an open weekend and I'm very big on work-life balance, and I do my best. Like my partner, she's great. She deals with me being always being gone, but I always remember, hey, here's my 3 months. Give me 2 or 3 days you need me home. Get that set. Fill your dates. If they're not filled, don't just figure out the random show you can go to locally. Drive, grab a cheap ass room, get a hotels.com account, earn free rooms. Learn how to make money. Don't let your merchandise stand in with everybody else's. Everybody has a one or two color shirt. That's black. Like it's a black t-shirt, two colors. It's not going to pop. Ain't nobody going to buy it. Put money into yourself, value yourself, understand that you need to learn, and just take an open seat, go help out.
No,
Pay your dues, as they say, but also appreciate it.
oh yeah. No, I that's very good advice because especially with the merchandise stuff, you like you said, there's those people that you know the whole merchandise table kind of looks very similar.
Yeah, and that's something that I hopped on the train of changing for me a couple of years ago. Like I have stickers, I have beard oil, and not just normal stickers. I have holographic, bumper, all that stuff. I have 3 different scents of beard oil. I have 2 different types of bracelets. I have currently 5 different shirt designs, all on different color t-shirts from tie-dye to black to blue to red. Um, I have 5 or 6 different 8x10s at a time. I have pins, keychains. Like I won't openly talk about it because I want to know you care. But if you want tips, please feel free to message me and I can tell you some things that'll help you turn a profit. But be different. Like
Yeah.
no one gives a shit if you're just like everybody else.
Oh yeah. No, you want to stand out because that's gonna be the way that people like they get drawn in and then they see your stuff. But if they're just looking at a sea of stuff that's all similar, it's like, maybe they won't buy anything.
Right. It's basic carny math, right? Like if you it's the same reason why your eyes stick out to a car that's bright.
Hmm.
Or, concerts would be less entertaining if there weren't lights.
Yeah.
Like you have to stand out.
Oh yeah. Anyways, I just got an alert that my phone was about dead. So that was actually the last question that I had for the night. I want to take the time to say thank you for taking the time to talk to me tonight. And where can people find you as far as social media so they can, get an eye on you?
So my social medias are kind of weird. It's either Captain Tony Garrix, as in Captain like Crunch. So it's CAPTN Tony Garrix, or just Tony Garrix, I believe, on Twitter and on Facebook. If Twitter's in, that's Oliver. If Twitter if Twitter's incorrect, that'd be for Instagram. Either which way, any of those variants will get you to me. I got TonyGarrix.com. Also, all my socials have my upcoming links and shows and stuff besides my website, because my website, like I said earlier, is outdated, and that's on me. Other than that, let me pull it up real quick. You said this is coming out a little late, but if it comes out early, I'll just read through the rest of this year.
Sure.
You can catch me at Imperial Wrestling Entertainment, Revolution Championship Wrestling. So Imperial Wrestling Entertainment's in Michigan. Revolution Championship Wrestling is in Indiana. We got Mid Death Pro coming up in Des Moines, Iowa. I got Rugged Pro in Iowa, and then I'm going to be helping out at the Wrestling Revolver that weekend as well. You can find me at For Us Wrestling in Michigan, Imperial Wrestling Entertainment in Michigan, and then I am off for the holidays.
Nice. We will be sure to post social media links in the description. But like I said, that is about all I have for tonight. I want to make sure that I am able to get some other stuff with you for this episode done before my battery runs out. But like I said, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me, and thank you everybody for listening. Y'all be safe.